Hello, and welcome to episode number 36 of the TEW 28 Challenge Run. This is the Week 4 July Monday Night Raw, and it is the go-home show for goodness gracious Great Balls of Fire this Saturday for the Raw brand. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show.
I won't beg, break, I'm going away. Every moment's one more chance to stand up or get in the.
We open with a hot contract signing angle. Samoa Joe hosts the Great Balls of Fire contract signing. Zelina comes out with Andrade and with Garza, and then Drew comes out after them. Zelina says that Drew's story has been an inspirational one, but it's time for it to come to an end. She says Drew has bitten off more than he can chew, as herself, Angel Garza, and Andrade will all have conspired together and have a plan to make sure that Andrade will become WWE Champion at Great Balls of Fire this Saturday night. Drew tells me to shut up. He's like, I know I've gotten myself into. I'm against two of the most talented competitors here on Raw. As much as you seem to be neglecting Angel Garza, but it doesn't matter who gets in his way. He'll kick everybody's head off. Drew signs it, and then he's ambushed by Andrade and Garza. They lay him out, and both grab the WWE title. Like, one's got one end of the strap, one's got the other end of the strap, and they're looking at each other. They have a tense stare down, and Vega looks at Garza, and sort of just gestures going, no, you know what you've got to do, you've got to let Andrade have it. He reluctantly obliges, he lets go of his end, and Andrade smiles, he holds the title up in the air, but then Garza goes to leave. But he turns around and he lays Andrade out of a wing clipper. The crowd goes ballistic, Zelina is getting angry at ringside. He picks up the WWE title, and the crowd is on his side. But he turns around, and then Drew McIntyre's back up, and he lays him out of a claymore. He sort of looks down at him disgusted, he picks his title up over his shoulder, and storms to the back, having signed the contract for the triple threat match this Saturday night. Who will win? You have to tune in then to find out. We then cut to Road Dogg in some sort of recording studio. He's invited his good friend K Quick to record the returning album of Road Dogg and K Quick, Time to Get Rowdy. But of course he rolls up Road Dogg and wins back his baby 24/7 title before running out the doors. It was all a ruse, and R-Truth has got his baby back for the 43rd time. Random tag team match between the two babyface tag teams this time. It is the Viking Raiders who come out on top. They defeat Path of the Dragon when Ivar pins Akira Tozawa with the Viking experience. 48 for both of the Vikings, 48 for Carrillo as well, and a 47 for Tozawa, so very even here between these two teams. Lana walks up to Jinder Mahal. She says that he's a nice, calm man. Well, there's an evil madman who's walking around uppercutting women on this show. He needs to be brought to justice, and Jinder's like, hush, I shanty. You need to shanty too. I will help you. I will team up with your friend Titus O'Neil to bring justice to the madman Oney Lorcan and to Kevin Owens later on tonight. So they're looking to come to Lana's aid. Doesn't end well, of course, being that they are the team of Jinder Mahal and Titus O'Neil. Owens pins Jinder with a stunner. 77 for Kev, 50 for Oney, 50 for Jinder, 40 for Titus. Titus and Jinder have great chemistry, so maybe Lana's got a loose action on her hands here. But that won't be happening. I know what Lana's doing. And after the match, she's screaming like a madman. She's screeching at the top of her lungs and being a generally insufferable cunt. Like Lana knows best, she shouts. She takes her heels off, throws them on the floor in an absolute hump. Charlie walks up and says, Are you okay, love? You're going a bit mad. And she snaps. She's saying she can't let Oney become the United States Champion. He will pay for what he did to her jaw. She can't seem to let this go. And she says that Oney will pay for what he did. R-Truth is coming into the building with his baby after he's just bamboozled his friend Road Dogg. When Adam Pearce, the real-life television legend, comes up to him, he's like, where have you been, Truth? The show started about half an hour ago. He's like, oh, my bad. And then he goes, it's okay, as long as you're here now. That's all that matters. But Swerve, Adam Pearce lays out R-Truth, and he pins him to become the 24/7 champion. Andrade's back out here for a match with Isaiah Swerve Scott. He beats him in 13 minutes, 20 seconds of a hammerlock DDT. Andrade with a 78, 47 for Scott. Again, like, this wouldn't normally go 13 minutes, but Andrade, he's apparently clear that he's not in the right headspace after Angel Garza laid him out in the opening segment. And Zelina's sort of like, now you've got to get back out there and face Scott like he did. And he's made Scott look very good, whether he meant to or not. He's made him look very good here tonight. Angle with Rey Mysterio. I groan even typing this out because putting these two in the segment together just ugh. After about 9 years of it in real life. But he says he's not here this week, but he will get back for Seth Rollins for giving him the curb stomp. And he will definitely get back at Buddy Murphy too, and Akam and all of the church, because they can add Rey Mysterio's list to the list of enemies they have made along the way, which is probably about 20 names long at this point, because the church, they are all over the show recently. They're all sort of doing their own thing. They're sort of like the inner circle in that way, like Gargano and Murphy are feuding with the Prophets, where like Proud and Powerful would feud with Best Friends. Fucking Aleister Black and Damian Priest are feuding where Jake Hager would feud with someone else. Seth's sort of starting something with Rey Mysterio, but he's sort of been on the back burner, just sort of dictating people at the moment. Excuse me. In a 70, Asuka defeats Peyton Royce by submission with an Asuka lock because Billie Kay tried to get involved. But Kairi also comes out to aid her best friend and help Asuka get the win. She celebrates with her best friend Asuka, but she gestures for a microphone. She grabs a mic. She says she knows how to capture that Kabuki warrior fire that she's been lacking since since Judgment Day even. She asks Asuka if she will, as her friend, help her hone her skills against her at Great Balls of Fire. Asuka asks if Kairi is ready for Asuka, and they shake hands. So a bit of friendly spirit here, agreeing to a match with each other at the pay-per-view to try and see if Kairi can get that Kabuki fire back that she lost when they lost the titles at Judgment Day. Aussie Might, the tag team champions with Bronson Reed, come out, cutting a promo about how they will not only defend against Ricochet and Cedric at the pay-per-view, but also against Apollo and Shelton Benjamin of VIP Nation. But it will never matter because they've got Big Bronson Reed in their corner, and the numbers game is not going to be in against them because the muscle of VIP Nation will be busy fighting Brock Lesnar, and Ricochet and Cedric, they're two small men. They've got no muscle on their team. And then Cedric and Ricochet come out like, that's what you think. When I heard there's a 6-man tag team match, we need to find somebody big that could counteract your big man. And who better than the biggest man we could find? Well, it's a Big Show. Big Show comes out, and then Aussie Might are like, oh fuck. A 6-man tag match. Cedric, Ricochet and the Big Show defeat Aussie Might. Ricochet pins Shane Thorne with a 630 after he got KO'd by Big Show. And yeah, apparently the odds are now even, because if Bronson Reed wants to get involved at the Great Balls of Fire, Cedric and Ricochet have a very large joker in their back pocket. Seth Rollins is unhappy with Buddy Murphy. He says last week he may have helped him with that briefcase and give him a hug after he lost to Montez Ford, but make no mistake about it, he made a mockery of the church and of the Money in the Bank by losing that match. And you didn't collect your debt on the night because we needed to send a message to Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. But now, here this week, you can take your punishment like a man. Akam and Damian Priest beat him up. Seth pulls into his feet and he demands better tonight. And that match will be Murphy, Gargano, and Damian Priest against Black and the Street Profits. It is technically the main event match of the show, because the actual main event will be a pre-tape of a press conference which will be hyping up throughout the show between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley that would have happened before Raw. Like, it would cut back to it for like the last segment and then show it that. But technically the main event is the 6-man tag. Speaking of the Church of Rollins, oh hey, that's a very cool note I didn't notice, or I didn't have time to test. Candice and Ruby defeat Bianca and Liv Morgan when Ruby pins Bianca Belair with a riot kick. Liv gets a 46, 42 for Bianca, 56 for Ruby, 54 for Candice. And the two ladies in the Church of Rollins apparently have excellent chemistry together, which, again, I didn't know because I didn't have time to test it because Candice was a last-minute addition. So that is just luck of the draw, which is very cool. Adam Pearce is caught up by R-Truth, and R-Truth gets his baby back for the 44th, I believe, time. Shayna Baszler wrestles Casey Catanzaro, gets a 50, and she makes her tap out to the Kirifuda clutch. They have great chemistry, 26 for Casey, 68 for Shayna. After the match, the Queen jumps into the ring. She gives Shayna that big boot to the back, and then locks her into the figure 8, and doesn't release the hold as the referees try and pull her off. Shayna doesn't submit, doesn't pass out, she tries to fight out before Charlotte is pulled off by referees and other agents and Finlay and all his friends ahead of their epic confrontation this Saturday at Great Balls of Fire. I didn't put any dialogue here because nothing I'd put in would do this justice, but you can imagine the sort of segment it is with the Street Profits backstage being the Street Profits, but they're with their tag team partner who is Aleister Black, who is very much not of the same personality as Fawkins and Tord. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So whatever they're doing about their wanting their smoke, Black would just give them evil looks, and he'd be like, "Leave it to me."
I got in the best shape of my life at 46 years old so I could step back in here and end my career on my terms.
You think you know me?
'68. I was hoping for better. Church of Rollins, Murphy, Gargano, and Priest defeat Black and the Street Profits. Buddy Murphy pins Angelo Dawkins with the Murphy's Law. 50 for Priest, 70 for Gargano, 68 for Murphy, 74 for Black, 56 for Ford, 49 for Dawkins. After the match, Akam's here. He jumps into the ring and he helps the other three members of the church beat up the Profits and Black with a numbers game before they all pledge to their Monday Night Messiah. Did I click the... No. Here's the main event segment. We cut to a pre-recorded from earlier in the day, UFC-style weigh-in for Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley, hosted by Samoa Joe. And they exchange words. Of course, Heyman and MVP do most of the talking. They exchange words from the two different tables, and they end up face-to-face. And it's very tense, like they're about to hit each other. Joe steps in the middle of them, he tries to hold them apart. And then MVP makes one last dig at Brock Lesnar. He's like, hey, you once you get beat by Bobby Lashley, you'll learn that he's the almighty and you're just a washed up old man, or something like that. And that would tip the beast off. He shoves Joe to the floor, who's been trying to hold them apart. And he starts a brawl with Bobby Lashley. All the security guards flock in onto the stage to try and pull them apart. And then a very angry Samoa Joe would sort of rise up behind Brock Lesnar. He shoves him to the ground, tells him to leave. And he gets in, but of course Lesnar won't take this happy. He springs to his feet, he gets back in Joe's face and starts screaming in his face, calls him on for a fight. And Joe's like, come on then. I'm always down for a fight, mate. You want to give it the big one to me. And then Brock sort of is escorted away by Heyman and all the security guards, and Bobby Lashley sent the other way. All gets very tense, but no actual fists are thrown. 77 for a show. That's actually pretty good considering our main event got 68. We don't gain any pop apparently because we are a 77 all round, I think. But that is the end of the Raw build to Great Balls of Fire. The next time you'll see the red brand will be at the pay-per-view itself. There'll be one more show before then though. That is SmackDown episode 37. See you then.